Hi, I'm Stephanie. I wasn't always like this. I used to be totally different. Outgoing, flashy, and surrounded by tons of friends. Everyone wanted to party with me and copy my look. I was the popular kid at school. My mom was the principal of our school. And honestly, she was the coolest principal ever. Life was totally amazing. But everything changed when the new guy showed up. Ethan just walked into the classroom, and suddenly, music started playing in my head. Whoa, I just knew right away we were meant to be a couple. But Ethan didn't even glance my way. He just sat down, opened his book, and that was it. No reaction. I thought, okay, that's no big deal. I just needed to try a little harder. Show him who I was. The next day, I walked into school looking like a total fashion icon. Everyone was in awe, but Ethan didn't even turn his head to look at me. He just walked by and disappeared into the library. So I launched a charity event right in the school lobby. Hug me! Save a tree! Everyone was laughing. Some people did come up to hug me, but Ethan walked right past me again. Didn't even smile. Fine, whatever. I pulled the oldest trick in the book. Walked up to him, did the whole clumsy girl routine, and let my books fall. Oh, careful. And by the way, don't try so hard. You're not really my type. Excuse me? Not his type? Me? But then one day, everything changed. I went to the library. Yeah, I'd kind of started stalking him, okay? Don't judge. And I just happened to overhear him talking to the librarian. I like quiet, smart girls. The kind who care more about books than looks. Ah, I see. He's one of those. Then my eyes landed on an old yearbook. I started flipping through it for no real reason and stumbled on a photo of these twin girls. They couldn't have been more different. One was flashy and outgoing, the other shy and reserved. That's it. What if I had a twin sister? Sweet, shy, the total opposite of me. Why hasn't anyone seen her before? Easy. My parents have been divorced for ages. Everyone knows I live with my mom. And my twin? She's been living with her dad. But now she's moving in with us and starting school here. Genius, right? And that's how Helen was born, my twin sister. It changed my look a bit, worked on how I talk and act. Basically, I turned myself into a different person. In the morning, I showed up at school for the first time not as Stephanie, but as Helen. I glanced around nervously, like I was afraid I might get lost. Of course, no one believed me at first. Ha, very funny, Stephanie. What's going on here? But I quickly pulled up a photo, one that I'd photoshopped in advance, showing me standing next to myself in a different look. It seemed the guys bought it, everyone except for Penny. That girl was always poking around where she shouldn't. That's Photoshop. I'll expose you. I didn't care about her. My main goal was Ethan. I knew he was after some rare book, so I found it, slipped a note inside, and just left it on the desk. The next day, Ethan came over to me. To Helen. Hey, did you leave the book here? Yeah, I thought you'd like that. We talked for a while. I actually learned the titles of his favorite books in advance and acted like I'd been into them since childhood. He actually seemed impressed. Everything was going great. Ethan started paying attention to me, or well, to Helen. I told him I was from Oklahoma City and just mentioned a random school. He didn't suspect a thing. And that's where things went wrong. There was no way some random student could have gone to school without any documents. So I ended up telling Mom everything. Mom, I've got an idea. Please don't get mad. But she didn't yell. She just sat there and listened. Stephanie, this isn't going to end well. I begged her, told her it was just for a while, that I'd explain everything to Ethan once he really fell for me. Fine, I'll make Helen an official student, but please tell Ethan the truth as soon as possible. It was easier to breathe now with Helen's existence finally official, but Penny was still hot on my trail. I'm going to prove Stephanie doesn't have a sister. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Things really went off the rails when I had to be both Stephanie and Helen. Like literally, two different people. I even made a schedule, which days I'd be Stephanie and which days I'd be Helen. There are times I had my mom distract people for me. I'd sneak into the bathroom, change my clothes, and take off my makeup. Helen and I don't really get along. We have totally different vibes, so we don't even talk. It was so hard trying to keep everything under control. The longer I stayed in character as Helen, the more I realized that just wasn't me. Polite, modest, well-behaved, Helen was nothing like the real Stephanie. On the other hand, things with Ethan were awesome. We were really getting closer. He'd invite me out for walks, and we'd text each other in the evenings. One day, we accidentally got locked inside the school library. Power went out because of a thunderstorm. It was just us, the books, and the light from his phone. So romantic. You're one of a kind. Like, you actually shine, even in the dark. There was this nagging feeling inside me that Ethan had a secret too. Sometimes he'd zone out, staring off into the distance, then suddenly stop mid-sentence. But it turned out my biggest biggest problem wasn't Ethan at all. Everything went sideways at a party where I showed up pretending to be Helen. Helen, you're awesome. Totally different from your sister. Yeah, Stephanie is always playing the boss, bragging about her mom being the principal and telling everyone what to do. Total show off. But you're the real deal. They were talking about me without realizing I was right there. I felt like screaming, but I had to keep my mouth shut so I wouldn't give myself away. The next day, I showed up at school as Stephanie. Steph, why didn't you come to the party yesterday? It was so boring without you. I looked at my friends and realized I saw them differently now. Hypocrites. Fake through and through. I just couldn't trust them anymore. I decided that I needed to take a good look at myself from the outside. I had to figure out what I was doing wrong. Right on cue, the school organized a field trip to Oklahoma City. What a perfect opportunity. I joined the group as Helen. On the bus, I sat closer to the teachers. I want to get to know my sister better. Can you tell me about Stephanie? She's talented, but she always wants to steal the spotlight. I started to realize I'd built this image of myself that just gets on people's nerves. I always thought I was charismatic. Turns out I just come off as a show-off. You are Stephanie. Why are you asking such dumb questions? I pretended not to hear it. But when the bus pulled into Oklahoma City, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I told everyone that Helen was from this very town. Ready to show us around? Yeah, sure. Where do I start? I started blabbing nonsense, just making up things as I went along, hoping no one would notice. And right behind me was Penny, breathing down my neck like she was waiting for me to slip. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Penny shouted, "Stephanie!" I instinctively turned around, and right away I realized, that's it. I gave myself away, like a fool. How do I get out of this now? And then... We have to get out of here right now, please. What? Why? He lied to the teacher, said he wasn't feeling well. Everyone got distracted by Ethan. The teachers were fussing around and my classmates kept glancing at each other. Meanwhile, no one noticed Penny trying to expose me. But honestly, I couldn't relax at all when I got home. Mom, am I actually just some attention-seeking diva? You know what, Steph? You're bright, smart, and charismatic. No one's perfect. And yeah, sometimes you can be a bit much. Huh? Are you kidding me? Why didn't you tell me before? I love you. Maybe I spoiled you a bit. I just wanted you to have everything you needed. Sometimes teens need tough love. Otherwise, we just start thinking we can get away with anything. I went to my room and just stared at the ceiling for a long time. It was getting harder to keep pretending to be Helen. Things with Ethan were going great, but the thing is, he fell for Helen, and he couldn't stand the real me. So yeah, I decided it was time to change something. Not for Ethan, for me. First, I stopped making fun of losers. Like, what was the point of laughing at someone just because they wore glasses or had a weird haircut? Then, I quit putting on a full face of makeup every morning. Oh, and I started a support club at school, so anyone struggling with algebra could drop in and get help. One day, I saw this girl I used to tease for dressing like a grandma. By the way, nice sweater. I'd love to get one like that. She almost dropped her books. Yeah, I used to be a real piece of work. And the next day, I showed up at school as Helen. You know my sister? Stephanie? Everyone knows her. She's changed lately. Not such a show-off anymore. Hearing that felt weird, but nice. So maybe it wasn't all for nothing? I started using my Helen persona to see myself from the outside, but things couldn't keep going that well forever. Maybe it's time to stop pretending. I know everything. What are you talking about? That's when she played the hallway surveillance video. It showed me, Stephanie, going into the bathroom and then Helen walking out. It was game over. I always suspected you and your sister were a fake act. Now I've got the evidence. I could expose you right now. No, please, Penny. I'm begging you. Well, maybe I won't. But here's the deal. Either Stephanie goes or Helen does. One of you has to disappear. There was no way out. If I picked Helen, I could be with Ethan. But if I chose Stephanie, I'd be myself again, but lose him. I kept turning it over in my head all night. And then I realized I was done lying. The next day, I let everyone know that Helen was leaving, heading back to her dad's place in Oklahoma City. Everyone was shocked. And then it was time to say goodbye to Ethan. We'll keep texting and calling each other. I'm really going to miss you. The next day, it was just me, Stephanie. My friends suddenly started trying to cozy up to me again. Oh, Steph, you look so gorgeous today. We haven't hung out in ages. We gotta catch up. You know, Helen told me everything about what you said behind my back at the party, and you should have seen the look on their faces, like I dumped cold water on them. That's a misunderstanding. She totally got it wrong. I don't want to hang with people who can lie to my face that easily. I always thought I was nothing without those friends, but it was actually better without them. I changed the way I behaved. No more showing off or making a scene in class, and honestly, I kinda liked it. Thanks so much, Stephanie. We're helping out with the book fair. Later, one of the guys came up to me during break. Hey, would you want to drop by the board game club sometime? We meet on Fridays after class. I didn't know what to say at first, but I went anyway, and you won't believe it. It was actually a lot of fun. Nobody expected me to be the center of attention. I just stayed true to myself. But as always, when things finally started going well, something had to go wrong. One day, I saw Ethan chatting with Penny, and it wasn't just a casual chat. They looked like they'd known each other forever. I'd never seen them together before, but they acted like old pals. Suddenly, all those suspicious things came rushing to mind. I knew Ethan was keeping something from me. I needed to get to the bottom of it. I knew the password to Mom's computer. I logged into the school database and dug up some stuff. Turns out Ethan used to live in Oklahoma, and he went to the same school I picked for Helen's cover story. And get this, Ethan spent 6 months in a psych ward. He never said a word about it to me. A few days later, I hit the road to Oklahoma City. I had to find the girl who set Ethan off, and I did. I don't want to talk about it. She stormed off angrily, but then some guy showed up next to me out of nowhere. He asked what I wanted from her. I told him. You know Ethan? He used to date her. Thought she was the love of his life, but then it turned out she'd been lying to him the whole time, manipulating him, pretending to be someone she wasn't. When Ethan finally saw through it, it broke him. He ended up in a ward, and when he got out, he packed up and moved to a new city to start over. I got home with my brain in a knot. Ethan was at the park next to the school. We have to talk. He gave a nod, not the least bit surprised. I know about Oklahoma, about the clinic. Now it's your turn. I knew you were Helen from the beginning. What? Well, that first time we met, you said you went to Ridgeview High in Oklahoma City. That's my old school. I knew you were lying. So what, you decided to teach me a lesson? I pretended to believe you. Then I asked Penny to help me out. We planned for her to push you, try to get you to admit the truth. So you deliberately put me through all that? At first, yeah. But then I started seeing the real you, not your Helen persona. How hard you try, how much you care, and I fell for you. You fell for a lie you set out to expose? No, I fell for you, despite the lies. That's why I set up the final test. Sent Penny to you with that video. I wanted to see what you'd choose. What are you talking about? If you'd stayed Helen, I would have known you hadn't changed. But you chose to be yourself. That meant you made the right choice. You were testing me? Go to hell! You're the biggest hypocrite. You wanna know who's the real manipulator? It's not Helen, it's you. I was in a really bad mood. I just lay there in my room staring up at the ceiling. Are you okay? All of that, so stupid. Not all of it. You've changed, for the better. School wasn't much better. Hey, how's Helen doing? There is no Helen, she's not real. At some point, Penny came up to me. I want to apologize for going along with Ethan. I didn't know things would go this far. It's okay, we're good. And weirdly enough, I feel a little better. Because if you think about it, without that dumb situation with Helen, I'd still be stuck being who I was. But turns out I was toxic, an awful person. So yeah, thanks, Helen. But Ethan, him, I just couldn't forgive. And then he just disappeared, stopped showing up at school. At first I was mad, then I started to worry a little. But one day a new guy walked into class. Hey, I'm Sean. I transferred here from Oklahoma. Wait, aren't you Ethan? Nope, I'm his twin brother. Ethan went back home. Are you serious? That's way too dumb to be true. You knew about this Sean, didn't you? Well, now he's going to be studying here. You're in on this with him? She didn't answer at all. Okay then, looks like Ethan's playing my game now. That's him. You know about this? Yeah, I do. Ethan's lying again. He did it for you. Give him a chance. Maybe he just wants a fresh start too. I turned around and walked away. No way am I getting involved in some drama again. Hey, I really like you. Maybe we could get to know each other? I looked him right in the eyes. On one condition. No more lies, no Helens, no Seans, no twin brothers. He nodded. Then I'm just Ethan. No more games. I sighed and hugged him, quietly, without saying anything. Sometimes telling someone they mean something to you means playing games, hiding behind masks, and pretending. But in the end, you realize they don't love the masks. They love the real you. Has anything like this ever happened in your life? Share your stories in the comments.